All right, so here's the little intro part where I see if my thing shows up online. Make sure you're streaming because of the stream delay. Let's see. It's usually about 13 seconds. Oh. Here it goes. It looks like it. All right. So I am online, and guys, I have a story. There was a movie or documentary or whatever that I had long sought after. It's a great documentary that I long sought after called Liberators, Fighting on Two Fronts in World War II. And I couldn't get this from Amazon. Maybe it's there now. I don't know. I couldn't get this from Amazon. So I actually went online and found like some Web 1.0 site that some guy who was actually selling it. Apparently, this had been on TV, but it was pulled. And when we learn about it, perhaps you can see why it was pulled. Now, so I went to this like Web 1.0 site. There was this guy who seems to be selling like books and DVDs as like kind of a side business. I sent him an email. He almost seemed surprised that someone was actually buying this from him. So I paid for it, and it took like it took over a month. It took, I think, about 35 days for it to get here. I think the guy had to like find where it was, and he printed I'm pretty sure he printed the cover, because I'm seeing like these printer stripes on the cover, and the DVD itself doesn't have any labels. It's just like a box standard disc that you get at a store. So anyway, so the first thing I wanna, well, let's go over some background of this wonderful movie. This is from the Institute of Historical Review, Holocaust Museum's Black Liberators Fraud by Mark Weber. Those who promote what Jewish American scholar Michael Goldberg calls the Holocaust cult in his book Why Should Jews Survive have for decades sought to make the story more relevant and meaningful for non-Jewish Americans by appealing to patriotic sentiments. This has mean, for example, emphasizing the role American troops as liberators of German concentration camps during the final weeks of the World War. Adding to this, Holocaust campaigners have sought to appeal to racial sensitivity of African Americans by promoting the story that two all-black U.S. Army units, the 761st Tank Battalion and the 183rd Combat Engineers Battalion, liberated the infamous Buchenwald and Dachau concentration camp. Blah, 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 blah. The paper cited African American leader Jesse Jackson as the source. The New York Times reported for the first time that black GIs had liberated Dachau and Buchenwald in 1988. They discovered this in 1988, and they cited Jesse Jackson as the source. Excellent. The story was given much greater prominence in late 1992 with the release of Liberators, Fighting on Two Fronts in World War II, issued as a much-touted documentary film and a lavishly illustrated book. In the film, two black veterans of the 761st recalled their role in liberating Dachau, ramming their tanks against the camp gates and encountering enemy machine gun fire from a burning barn. Also in the film, two elderly Jews. Oh, that's another thing. We're going to see the great meetup of the Jews they liberated. All of this has been known since 1993. The highlight of the film, reported U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum Council, is a deeply moving reunion at Buchenwald of former inmates Benjamin Bender with two of his liberators, E.G. McConnell, Leonard Smith. Actually, this moving return is a stage fraud. It is a lie, confirmed McConnell in 1993. We were nowhere near these camps when they were liberated. I first went to Buchenwald in 1991 with PBS, not the 761st. No black troops participated in the liberation of either Buchenwald or Dachau. All this has been known since 1993. So there we go. What else we have here? Multimedia Liberators Project exposed as fraud. They have the gala premiere. New York Mayor David Dinkins introduced the Liberators film premiere showing in November at a star-studded gathering with more than 700 leaders of the city's Jewish and black communities. The gala event at New York's Lincoln Center was co-sponsored by the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Council, and yet you can't get this on Amazon. Referring obliquely to the high level of tension between the city's Jews and blacks, Dinkins said, "When we see those brave African-American soldiers freeing Jewish prisoners of the concentration camps, let us remember all that binds us together. Truth emerges. Because its errors are so blatant and readily discernible, it wasn't long before critics began pointing them out. The first periodical to take aim was a relatively obscure monthly, the New York Guardian. Its December 1992 issue, the paper reported, after an intensive examination of Army records and interviews with military historians, Holocaust experts, and World War II veterans, including black soldiers whose lives were depicted in Liberators, the Guardian has learned the most celebrated fact of Liberators are not true. Neither soldiers of the 761st All-Black Tank Battalion, nor soldiers of the 183rd Black Combat Engineers Battalion ever liberated Buchenwald or Dachau. So, we have more of this. And it's a big, long article. But one thing I found when I got the DVD, I actually took a photo of this. I want to ask you guys. It's also available on, linked here. It's also available on the Gab, under Gab question at the bottom. And I want, like, your opinions on this. There's a picture on the back of the DVD here. Oh, sorry. I showed off a little bit of a hardcore pornography there. Sorry, guys. So anyway, so here is the picture, and you can't see it very well in the stream, which is why I linked to it on the Gab. And so this soldier here who's pointing the gun at the German at the German captured soldier here. Is this guy, the guy pointing the gun, is this guy black? All right, is this guy black? And it's on my Gab, and I just want to know, because it's not very clear in the photo, but holding the case in my hand, I see this guy. This really looks like a white guy given blackface. It's on the it's in my links, Spangroiper. It's under Gab question, like at the very bottom. It's under Gab question. You enhance it by clicking on the Gab question. It'll link you to the post that asks about this. The guy on the left pointing the gun, is that a black guy or a white guy? Now, I have a little bit of an advantage because I actually have the DVD case in my hand, and I swear that is a white guy who has been edited with darker skin. I swear that's what this is. And given that this came out in 1992, this is not the kind of stuff.
Killer Pascal sent $5. You said men are potentially more attractive than women, but also more disgusting. Can you explain bisexuality and women perceive 80% of men to be below average? Do gay men perceive 80% of men as below average?
There's more variation, okay? And I think gay men are more forgiving on looks than well, in some ways, it depends. Actually, this is not true. Women care less about looks. Gay men are more about sort of the meat market. But yeah, men have a greater upside than women, and a greater downside. Men can be gross, but yeah, that's just how that works. I don't know what else to really say. Increase resolution. You can increase resolution by clicking on the Gab question and answering the Gab question. So we got some comments here. I wouldn't put it past them, since blacks were not in combat arms in World War II. That's not entirely true, unfortunately. Some were in combat arms. So, okay, so that's that. And so now let's try to, this worked before. Let me see if we can't, uh-oh. I'm having some trouble. I'm having some technical technicals here. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Can we get the game capture? Turn off Brave. Oh, show up. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is actually the this is the movie, and I have not been able to see it online anywhere. So tell me what you think about the audio here.
They were African American soldiers. They were in a segregated army. They trained in white America.
Whites only, whites only, whites only. I got so sick of looking at that time that I just wanted to shoot them down sometimes.
Their commanders never intended to send them.
I got so sick about having to live around blacks, I almost became violent.
Soldiers fought through 6 European countries into the heart of the most
The tank is
violent
called
empire
Cozy.
the world has ever known.
Israel.
The victims of Nazi terror.
Could be a little louder. Hold on. There we go. This is Liberators, fighting on two fronts in World War II.
In April 1945,
A hidden movie.
American Army units broke into the concentration camps at Dachau, Lombok, and Buchenwald. Nearly 50 years later, 2 veterans of the 761st Tank Battalion returned to Buchenwald with Benjamin Bender, who had been imprisoned there as a boy.
You came to liberate.
The tower clock remained set at the hour of liberation.
I recall when you entered the camp about 3 o'clock on April 11, 1945. What time is now?
3:15.
3:15. We are close. I was walking, searching for my brother. I was discharged from the hospital about 11 o'clock. And I was trying, before I left him, I embraced him. We didn't cry. We didn't cry. And he said to me, we meet here.
Okay, this is boring.
They were inducted in.
Oh God, I
into a
screwed it
rigidly
up.
segregated army.
I'm sorry,
They
guys.
trained in white America.
Whites only.
1945, broke into the concentration camp. 2 veterans of the 761st Tank
Sorry.
Battalion returned to Buchenwald
Here we
with
go.
Benjamin Bender, who had been imprisoned there as a boy.
When you came,
Oh my God.
we are close.
Sorry, guys.
I
This
was
is the DVD.
walking,
God damn
searching
it.
for my brother.
This is using an
I was discharged
archaic
from the hospital at 11 o'clock.
archaic video service. It's
And I
called
was trying-
DVDs. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to use them before.
Before I left
So-
him, I embraced him. We didn't cry. We didn't cry.
Didn't cry.
And he said to me, we meet here.
I should just use VHS. Be more reliable. No, this is not an MP4. This is
I've never
something
met him.
done.
As I walked through the gates there with Benjamin Bender, and he talked about his brother who died a few days before liberation, and he mentioned his family chased him out of the bunkers before the Germans came, and his mother and father took cyanide. What a story. I've choked
They
up
took,
with that.
his parents took cyanide at Bergen-Belsen. They just took some cyanide.
The soldiers who entered Buchenwald that April were the first Americans most prisoners had ever seen.
It's the Buchenwald
But
Church
in
here.
April 11, it got quiet for a couple hours, and suddenly we saw the Germans running left and right, and this guy walks in. We thought he came in from the moon.
We're
Some an angel
sorry,
walked
but
off from
your
the moon.
kind isn't allowed
We
here.
didn't know to kiss him, to
Oh,
hug
we got a
him,
chat
and
here.
We were numb. We couldn't speak. We couldn't move. I can't even, because I get... It's something, you know, I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I remember...
I don't want to try to pause this
We just crawled.
because I think I might
Tried to
like
grab
destroy
a
the
piece of-
playback.
Wherever we could grab a piece of cloth, whatever, just to hold on to him. We couldn't believe it. That's really true that he came to liberate us. We couldn't believe it.
They vividly remember
It's a
this.
pleasure and a privilege to welcome to
Look at
our
all these people.
congregation and to our community, Dr. Leon Bass.
Oh,
Now
God,
a
this guy.
retired high school principal, Dr. Leon Bass was 21 and a private in the 183rd Combat Engineers when
Yeah,
he entered the war.
I've tried.
He speaks
I've
at Temple
tried.
Israel
I
in
actually
New Rochelle,
just
New York.
got this, so I haven't had
I want
time
to share with you
to fix it up.
feelings I have about racism and the Holocaust. You see, these two
Two
events
things that never
impacted on
happened
my
to
life
you.
in such a way that I need to share it.
I did
And in
share
order to
it.
do that, I have to
I have to talk
take you
in
on an
front of a
odyssey.
bunch of Jews in New York.
my experiences.
That's sharing it.
And I have to go back to the turn of the century when my parents were born. They were born in South Carolina. My father was born 1891. That was 26 years after Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. My mother was born 1895.
They vividly
That was
remember
1
it.
year before the Supreme Court rendered a decision in the Plessy versus Ferguson case, which said that separate but equal was constitutional.
Yay!
And you know that opened up Pandora's
Great
box
ruling
for a great deal of pain for people of color.
of having to
And
live
I tell you this because I wanted
amongst
you to know
each
the
other.
environment into which they had to
A great
survive.
deal of pain for people of color.
They had to
We had to
struggle.
live amongst each
Struggle
other.
for food, struggle for a place to stay, struggle for an education, struggle for a vestige of human dignity. But somehow they managed. My father became
Somehow
part of
they
the armed forces in
managed.
the First World War. He went with the expeditionary forces to France to fight, to make the world, quote, safe for democracy.
Yeah. Democracy.
We did enter one concentration camp.
Democracy was
It was near the
enacted.
end of the war.
They didn't want you around.
Just
They
can't
voted you
describe
not be around.
what I saw.
When his tank battalion entered a Nazi concentration camp, Johnny Stevens was only 20 years old. He had grown up in Georgia in the 1930s.
Living in the South in those days, it was really an experience that you wouldn't want to go through it twice.
Terrible
You never
experience.
Had the opportunity to do things like the white people did.
And why is that?
We lived in an all-black neighborhood.
Oh, that's why.
You had
Okay.
to eat in your own restaurant.
He's telling us why it was so bad. We had to
The
live
restroom,
amongst each other.
One was marked colored, the other was marked white. It was
1992.
rooted segregated Georgia. And that segregation lasted until I went away to war. And when I went in the army, it was still a segregated army.
Americans who knew all about Southern racism and lawlessness were little aware of the violently racist state being built in Germany by Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party.
Lawlessness.
Nazism exploited belief in racial purity and fear of racial degeneration, a fear that was widely held in German society.
Fear.
In Nazi racial theory, Germans were members of the so-called Aryan race, identifiable by pseudoscientific measurement.
How is that?
The Aryan race was threatened by pollution from lesser races.
What's pseudoscientific here? They're measuring the
Non-German.
face. I don't see
People
the
of color.
pseudo.
It is the Jews, Hitler declared, who bring Negroes into the Rhineland, with the clear aim of ruining the white race by the resulting bastardization. Like the Jews, people of color were considered intartite, degenerate. The Nazis promoted their supposed racial
Yeah, this is
superiority wherever they could.
I think this is Denzel Washington.
German boxer Matt Schmeling was sent to America to take on the heavyweight champion Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber.
Oh, and he lost a boxing match.
Joe Louis knocked out Schmeling in the first round.
Proof of racial superiority.
was like an idol to all Americans.
When did Hitler ever say that? Never.
He made you
This is
feel
just-
important. It made you feel
They're
like
just
you
making
belong.
stuff up about Hitler.
But such victories changed nothing for black Americans. When war came, they were going to have to fight for the right to fight. The armed forces were rigidly segregated. There were no black Marines or airmen.
Proving we're
no
guerrillas
black sailors
did not
in combat units.
did not
They
prevent
could
us from
serve
being
only as
treated
mess
that way.
attendants and cooks, orderlies and stevedores. There were virtually no black workers in war industries. But modern war was going to require total national mobilization. African Americans were going to demand to be a part of it.
No, they weren't.
The black press was calling for an end to discrimination in war industries and segregation
Let
in
me
the
try to
military.
pause. Just as an aside, I actually looked at volunteer enlistment rates in the by various nationalities into the German army, and I know that the Baltic states had a higher rate of volunteer into the German army than U.S. troops volunteered into their own army. So in terms of like they were going to demand to be a part of it, like no, like Estonians more so demanded to be a part of the German army than Merkins overall demanded to be part of the American army. Like this idea of like that's like a retcon after the fact and whatever. Like like they were more conscripted than well.
Military commanders, bureaucrats, and the president saw this as a big problem. The Negro problem.
Yes. The Negro problem.
Meeting with black leaders, President Roosevelt suggested that putting Negro bands aboard battleships might be a good start. The meeting was not a success.
Putting
Mary McLeod Bethune,
music making, that's what they
a
can
member
do.
of FDR's unofficial black cabinet, spoke to her friend Eleanor Roosevelt. Mrs. Roosevelt put pressure on her husband. Finally, the president lifted the long-standing quotas. From now on, blacks would be admitted to all branches of the military, and they would be eligible for officer training. William O. Hasty, a respected black educator and judge, was appointed to oversee Negro military affairs. But
Yep.
FDR absolutely refused to end segregation in the armed forces.
Yay!
If you were a soldier, you were in uniform. If you went to town, you had to ride the back of the bus.
Oh, the back of the bus.
You had to eat in a black restaurant. If you wanted to use the facilities in a train station or a bus station, you had to go in the part that was marked colored and one was marked white. We wore the same uniform.
You had to eat at a black
We were
restaurant.
there for the same reason, but we couldn't do the same things.
All right, something that didn't happen. We're gonna hear something that didn't happen here, guys.
When war came, it seemed certain that things would change for black servicemen. Now they would have to be allowed to fight for their country. The attack gave America her first black combat hero, Dory
Oh,
Miller.
here we go.
A messman with no gunnery training, Miller had picked up machine gun of a fallen gunner and brought down at least 2 Japanese planes.
Ah,
He won the Navy
there's the
Cross.
something that didn't happen.
The Navy used Miller to recruit in the black community. His mother worked with leaders like Adam Clayton Powell to get
How would
African
they even
Americans
determine
behind the
that?
war.
Like an anti-aircraft gunner?
Miller was still
Like,
on
how
the
would they-
messman 2 years later when he was killed in action.
Like this.
A month after Pearl Harbor, Joe Louis was drafted. Newsreels followed the champ's progress in his all-black cavalry regiment.
The champ.
But despite the weapons training, the Army still had no plans to send black soldiers into combat.
What?
All American News brings you our people's contribution to America and freedom.
Richmond, Virginia is all out for the bond drive.
The All-American News was the only newsreel made especially for black audiences, seen in black communities across America. It proclaimed black support for America's war.
Making a a lovely appearance.
The ghost of
with
Pearl
the blacks in
Harbor.
Their smart uniform.
Tyrone,
and
the
of course,
ghost
the
of Pearl
Boy
Harbor.
Scouts, sturdy citizens of tomorrow. Many bond buyers think
Oh,
they're
Boy
working in
Scouts.
theater.
That's a.
Roosevelt Wharton, a chauffeur, and his wife Anna Wharton, a beautician.
What happened to
seen
the
at a
Boy
Washington,
Scouts?
D.C. theater lobby. They have just bought a $1,000 bond, which is their 10th.
When Picatinny Arsenal at Dover, New Jersey needed more workers to make more ammunition for our fighting forces, the appeal
That's
was for
one
our-
thing. There was a big like bitching about not being allowed in World
adopted
War
Winston
One,
Churchill's V for Victory sign.
and then they
But
get
they had
mad
stood
about
for
being
victory in the
sent too
struggle
much
for
in
rights and
Vietnam.
opportunities as well. 12 months after Pearl Harbor, 500,000 black men had been inducted into the armed services. They were going to be fighting on two fronts, abroad and at home. Abroad against enemies who were out to establish racial
There we
hierarchies
go.
worldwide. At home, against the everyday racism of American life.
Against white people who don't want to be around them.
Two New York City buddies, Leonard Smitty Smith and E.G. McConnell,
That's
just
their war,
reached the age of
having to live
enlistment in
around each other.
1942.
What made you go in the service?
Man, I just wanted to get in here. I felt, you know, just like you. You were gung-ho.
Yeah, but I had to go in the service because I was doing things wrong in school, so I had a choice, either mess up or go into the service.
Well,
so
what made you volunteer for the tanks?
Well, I tried to go into the Air Force, but you know they wasn't taking blacks at that time.
Yeah.
So therefore,
Yes, they
told me
were.
The next best thing was
They
to go
were.
to the Army.
That's
So I
a
signed
lie.
up for Army. Volunteer went to Army.
Well, I just felt it was a.
They wouldn't
patriotic
take
duty. That's
you,
where I
but
wanted
no,
to
they
go.
were
I
taking
wanted
blacks in the
peace
Air
of
Force.
action.
Oh, well, I wanted to keep out of trouble because if I didn't, I'd have been sitting up in jail somewhere. So that's why I signed up because the policeman came to my house and told my mother either he straighten up or go into the service. So my mother said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Let me go into the service." She signed the papers and I went in. Well, Mac, when you went down and when you enlisted, it was when you go by yourself?
I tried to, but here comes Mom's. It was May 1942, you know, 5 months after the war. And anyway, Mom's had packed my clothes. See,
I want to skip to the good parts, but I'm afraid I'm going to destroy the. I'm going to destroy the where we're at.
Packed all this mess and went on down there, and then the sergeant down there, she went on. I was talking to some of the guys. See, had some my sister's eyebrow pencil, put a little smudge over there to make myself look a little older. Yeah. And she went back talking to the sergeant, telling the take care of my boy. Good God, was I embarrassed. I wanted to break ranks and leave. You know?
Oh yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the Red Tails.
We shipped out for Fort Knox, Kentucky. As the train was chugging through the hills in Kentucky, orders came down for us to pull the shades down in our cars. Now, there was some white troops in part of the train and black troops in the forward part right behind the engine.
Whenever they say something like this, it's like, did that actually happen? It doesn't look like they're asking them to pull the shades down here.
Fumes.
But
well, my curiosity got the best of me.
Whenever they say something like that, it's like,
well, being young,
yeah,
wise guy,
pull the shades down.
I knew all the tricks, and I was going to find out and tell the rest of my buddies. See, so I went and peered out between the two cars, and as I looked off to the side in the hills, I saw a bunch of these hillbillies, real old rednecks, and they were waving at this troop train. Some of them had shotguns as they were waving.
Okay, so more shit that never happened.
I couldn't believe it. So finally,
shooting at the blacks in the train cars.
Shots had been fired at the colored troop trains on several occasions in the past.
Most of the Army's basic training camps were in the South. Most of the white officers assigned to black units were Southern also. They were supposed to have more experience in handling Negroes.
Yeah,
they
because
took
they're
me,
from the South.
along with 599 other young men, all African Americans, and they took us down to Georgia. Now, I look in this group and I see that most of you are around my age, so I'm pretty sure you must be aware what it was like to be in Georgia in 1943 and to be black. That was a painful experience for me.
Having to live around blacks.
Well, we worked on the red clay of Georgia for 3 months trying to be good infantry soldiers, but when it was over, they said, look, we don't need you to be infantry soldiers. We want you to be combat engineers. And so the 183rd Engineer Combat Battalion was born.
Yeah, Eleanor Roosevelt wanted to hire
government in the Army. Only only
What
a
did
few
a higher
model
percentage?
combat units were developed, largely for their public relations value. Among them was the 761st Tank Battalion, one of the 3 black armored battalions the Army formed. The Army could choose from among the very best to fill the few places in the 761st.
The very best.
Preston McNeil.
So they chose amongst the very best at the
Wilbur
time.
Benson, Walter Woodson, William McBurney. They and the other men of the 761st knew they were an elite unit.
They were an elite unit.
Their motto was, "Come out fighting."
They were an elite unit, guys.
But the Army had little intention of using them in battle.
Oh, the Army didn't see them as an elite unit.
Then we were shipped down to Fort Knox, Kentucky. Then from Fort Knox, Kentucky, we went down into Louisiana. And we took
We're an elite unit. The Army doesn't want to use us, though.
Louisiana, and that's where we ran into a lot of the fellas from the South that joined us.
Well, they're old here,
very
so,
close.
so they look
as
lost.
comrades
But
and friends and whatnot, and that's where most of the Northerners learned about the segregation of the South.
My comrades did not understand segregation, so I explained to them about segregation because I was raised under segregation, and they couldn't understand the signs as colored, white. I said, well, I'm used to this, and this is what y'all have to get used to as long as you're in the southern states. But it took time to get to them. I preached to them every night. They called me hardboiled Charlie and all kinds of names.
That's
It didn't
right.
bother me. A lot of them refused to listen and went to town and got in a little trouble. Then they realized that they didn't mess with them Southerns in the South.
all right, this is not go here. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is obviously not the Army. This is the Red Tails. This is a paper here. 9 myths about the Tuskegee Airmen. So here's comparison of 15th Air Force P-51 fighter groups. And so 15th Air Force, these were down in Italy, and these are like the contemporary fighter groups. So here we have victories per aircraft lost. And here we have the unique... So when they talk about like the elite armored division, I'm thinking about like the one black fighter group they made during the war. So there you go. So and these guys had a movie made about them. They got like a congressional medal of whatever for their great service. None of these fighter groups did. They didn't get no special Congress medal, but like these groups did. I have that linked in the Telegram, by the way. All right. So
We had our own barracks. We had our own movies. We had
Own
our
barracks?
PX. We
Own
couldn't go
PX?
into the main PX, and it was rough.
Oh, it was rough.
Down south, when I first time I went to town, they told us to go to town with a little southern boy because I was 17 years old. I really didn't know what discrimination was about. But I said, no, I'm going to town by myself. And I went to town. When he got into town, I went through a field and got on the wrong side of town. When I got on the wrong side of town, I was in the store going to buy some things that this man was going to sell me, and 2 white MPs came in. They asked me what was I doing there, and how did I get there, and I explained to them how I got there.
Oh,
And
crap.
that's when they
Sorry.
told me, well, we're going to escort you back to your side of the town. I said, all right. I said, can I buy my things? He said, no, you can't buy anything here.
Oh my
When we
God,
got
I
back
had.
to my side of the
I'm
town,
sorry.
there was some
I screwed
black
up,
MPs.
guys.
And they
You
said,
didn't miss
well, what
anything in
happened?
the
He said, well,
visual.
He
It's
just
just
walked on the wrong side of the town, and we just brought him back over there.
it's just like
But
B-roll.
these MPs, they whipped my butt and put me in jail. Because
Good.
all they were told is that any time black do something wrong, whip him. And that's what happened.
Johnny Holmes was a corporal in Charlie Company.
I never ever remembered speaking to a white soldier. The only whites that I spoke to was my commanding officer, my company commander, only if I was asked a question and only if I was told to do something. That was the only time I've ever spoken to a white soldier during that period.
We went into this.
Here we go.
Little town. We were told by our officers to go.
This
in
guy's a
for
great
supplies.
storyteller.
So we went into the little town. I got out of the truck. We were in a 6x6. I got out of the truck, went into the little store, and was ordering. And I started back out, and the storekeeper said, "Don't go back out there." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Just come with us." And he put me underneath the porch, and I saw this comrade of mine, my friend, being dragged up and down the street behind a car.
Yeah.
They had tied a rope to the car.
So this guy is like a known liar about like having received stuff from like Jewish groups and stuff. And he's lying about liberating Dachau.
At that point, they told me just stay on the porch.
But this guy's been in other Holocaust documentaries, and he's been fibbing.
So I stayed on the porch till after dark.
Fibbing about stuff there.
And then they took me out and took me back to my camp.
Yeah. Oh.
There were frequent incidents of black soldiers fighting back
B-roll
against
there.
racism. But the Army remained certain that integration would destroy discipline and morale.
There's been black soldiers fighting to have access to whites. How brutal it was.
In April, Judge William Hasty, the War Department's new civilian aide for Negro affairs, resigned in disgust.
Okay, bye.
Racial violence erupted in the overcrowded black communities across America.
Okay, so they bring blacks in and blacks start looting and breaking shit. That's what
in
happened.
Detroit, when whites tried to keep black families out of public housing built for them.
Yes.
25 black people and 9 whites were killed.
Of course, they only show the blacks who
Harlem,
get bloody. They
resentment
don't
over
show.
price gouging and segregation in the military boiled over when a black soldier was shot by a white policeman. African Americans were not winning the war on the home front. Meanwhile, in September of that year, the 761st moved down to Texas. There was a contingent of German prisoners of war at Camp Hood, some of high rank.
We were on maneuvers down there, and
Well, then they opened up the black
Germans
housing in
being
Detroit,
treated
the
much
public
better
housing
than
to
we
blacks
were.
in
The German
Detroit,
prisoners that they had
and
brought
everything
over,
was hunky
They
dory.
could go into the Army PXs where the black troops could not.
Right, because they're
Black
white.
soldiers were ordered to wait on German prisoners.
Right, because they're.
And they watched in disgust as one German officer who died in the camp was given a funeral with full military honors by the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is where we really took our hardcore combat training. And this is where Patton picked up on us.
Oh, Patton! Oh, this is great. I like this.
He was inspecting troops that was on maneuvers in Louisiana, Texas, and stuff like that. And he had got a report that there was a black tank outfit that looked pretty good. And when he saw us, he said that he thought that we was the finest tankers he'd ever seen.
The black tanker's awe and affection for George S. Patton persist to this day. In reality, as he later wrote in his autobiography, Patton believed that black soldiers lacked the reflexes for armored combat.
You're the best tankers I've ever seen.
You must remember.
And then he says,
during
"Yeah,
World War II,
they're like they're
we
the
had
worst."
2 armies, one white army and one black army.
Okay, this guy says we have 2 armies, one white army and one black army. Let me here. Let's go to the brave thing here. I don't know if you guys can see this, but here we go. This is the enlistment. So you have. So this is through the course of the war. We have 1 white army and 1 black army. So basically it's kind of like saying we have 1 real army and then we have remps and showpieces. So there you go. Those are the 2 armies of the war. So.
And there was no integration of the races. As a result of that, the USO also had separate production companies or groups.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
I was in charge of all of the USO productions having to do with black entertainers. Now, in case you don't know what USO Camp Shows was, USO Camp Shows was the organization
I want to skip this, but I can't. I can't fix the DVD.
To American troops all over the world during World War II.
Oh God! Oh, can we skip?
Someday he'll come along.
Okay, I don't want to skip that because I don't want to because I have no confidence in my ability to move around the DVD. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just not listen to this. So there we go. Yeah. That's the first part. We're not. They've been focused. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Oh. They've been focused too much on like black issues in Merca. I think it's kind of funny that they actually would include that, like Patton. In reality, Patton thought they were shit. like why would you say that? It's really weird that they'd say Patton said they were the best. Nah, they're shit. Like why? Like why would they include that? It's really, I find that kind of odd. Or like we were an elite unit, and then right after that, but the army never wanted to use us for anything. The army disagreed. So the Durlawanger Brigade. Durlawanger just sounds like some meme unit. Alright.
On June 6, 1944, the Allies staged the largest invasion in the history of war. 200,000 troops, supported by thousands of planes and ships, tanks and vehicles, landed on Omaha Beach.
No black troops. No black troops.
But one of the best trained armored units in the Army wasn't there.
The best trained.
The 761st had been left at home.
Yes, because they needed to win.
Casualties were high as they tried to break out of the beachhead they had won.
They're talking about D-Day, and like,
the Sherman tanks
there's
had
no
gas
black
engines
troops
and
there.
often exploded in flames when hit. Tankers called them Ronsons. Life expectancy was short inside.
That was a myth. The Shermans being flammable is a myth.
The Army at last sent for the 761st. Young men who had never left their country before, looking forward with eagerness and some fear to doing at last what they had been trained to do.
Yes. After the war was won, you can send in the meme unit.
About to go to war.
That's what they can do.
In August 1944, PFC E.G. McConnell and his buddies.
Yes, they're
left New York
making
Harbor
D-Day
in a
about
convoy
them.
bound for Britain.
The important thing about D-Day is blacks weren't there, so it's about blacks.
And we slept in hammocks, and the hammocks were attached to these poles. They were 5 high, not double-decker, but 5 high. You had to climb a pole like a monkey and try to get in your hammock without falling. A lot of guys fell down, but usually when they fell, their fall would be broken by falling.
Yeah, middling intellect. It was racism in Vietnam when blacks are thrown into the meat grinder. It's racism in World War II when they're not thrown into the meat grinder. So, no matter what, they'll find a way to say.
They took the good American rations and stored it to take home to their families, and they fed us all sorts of garbage, porridge, beans, and seaweed, or whatever.
In England, there was no history of racial segregation. Britons were mostly ready to accept black troops.
But they learned
the
quick.
Army spread rumors.
Oh yeah, the army spread rumors. The army did spread rumors.
And violence.
The army
Things
did
never
spread
got better
rumors.
because when we landed in England, they told the English people or whatever European people they came in contact with that we were
That
monkeys
didn't happen.
and that we had tails and that we couldn't fight and we were just bringing the tanks up for the white boys to fight with.
Which
This
is
is the
mostly
message
true.
that they spread throughout Europe. And you wouldn't think that your own countrymen would do this to you, but they did it to us.
African American Army
Press
nurses
X to
stationed
doubt.
in England weren't allowed
Press
to
X to
treat white
doubt.
Americans. Since there weren't enough black casualties, the nurses were assigned to treat German prisoners of war. Only when the nurses rebelled against this duty were they allowed to treat American soldiers of all races.
Okay, so the black nurses.
Everyone is treated the same when it comes to dying, said the American General J.C. Lee. In October, the 761st crossed the English Channel. It was a day none of those who survived.
They're talking about crossing the English Channel 6
In
months after
1982,
D-Day.
16 of the veterans were
Finally
reunited in
crossed the channel.
France. They returned to be honored for their part in the liberation of Europe from the Nazi armies.
Oh, okay, that's the end of the first thing of the DVD. Let me open the Okay, here we go. No, we haven't gotten to the great meetup.
They laid a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier.
The unknown soldier. Searching for a black soldier who actually saw combat. That's the unknown soldier, because nobody knows about one. The unknown soldier.
All the veterans who attended had
They're
their
playing.
memories.
They're saluting to the theoretical
Memories
black
of the last
soldier
time they
who
came to
actually
this
saw
country.
combat.
Rolling out in their brand new Sherman tanks in October 1944 onto the sands of Omaha Beach.
1944.
Now, for the first time, I saw what war was like when I saw the abandoned barges and ships.
This war that I was not involved
I couldn't
in.
imagine how the Allies could have such a land and still continue to make advancements and crush his enemy.
Oh, I know how they could
And
continue to
we were
make
told
advancements.
We'd have to convoy across
It's
France.
the Soviet
where
Union.
the
That's
Third
how.
Army front was, which was up around Metz. This is around where General Patton, his drive came to a halt because he ran away from the supply line.
The veterans
Oh,
set
God,
out to
what?
retrace their journey through France and the Low Countries. Along the roads
Yes,
they had once
their
traveled in tanks.
peaceful journey through France,
Horace Jones, a second lieutenant in 1944, was among them.
where they didn't see combat until the Battle of the Bulge.
But on the outlying places, there were a few pockets. We spearheaded a lot of places. We were door openers. We'd go in and kick the door open.
Kick the door open.
Divisions, they would take over.
That's right. We did the
Late
hard
October
work when the other divisions came
1944.
in.
We were called to ranks. We lined up in a field in St. Nicholas, France, because we heard General Patton was coming down.
Is he hiding from those guys up
lead us
there?
into his army.
It looks like he's
As
hiding.
we were called
and
to
they're like,
attention, eyes straight forward, I stretched my vision as far to the left as I could as I heard the approaching Jeep. General George S. Patton was a 3-star general.
Man,
at
they
the
love
time.
Patton.
What pride, huh?
I think it's because he's like
Feelings that I
Southern
had.
and like
Here's one of the greatest
gaudy.
warriors of World War II, and we were going to fight under his command. Out stepped Patton, sparkling, dapper, walked very briskly, stepped up on a half-track, looked at us, gazed at us from left to right, and said, "I sent for this unit because I heard you were good. And I have nothing but the best in my outfit.
He's still lying.
I
He's
want you
still
to go
blowing
up there
smoke up their
and
ass.
kill them goddamn Krauts. I want you to give them a licking. I don't care what color you are, as long as you go up there and kill those Kraut son of a bitches." As he completed his speech, he looked me straight in the eye, with gray eyes. And he said, "Listen, boy, I want you to go up there and shoot up every goddamn thing you see. I want you to shoot
He spoke.
haystacks, church
Remember,
steeples,
the 3-star
graveyards,
general is
old ladies,
speaking to a
children,
black
any damn
private
thing that you
personally.
see. This is war."
He's directly
Staff
speaking.
Sergeant Johnny Stevens of Company A kept a diary of those days in Europe.
November 5th, 1944. Well, here we are, somewhere in France, and we're supposed to go on our first mission today.
December 1944.
A couple of more hours.
This is their first mission.
I
The war's
smoked
over, and
2
now we can
packs
send in
of
the meme
cigarettes.
unit. That's what there's happening here.
On its first day in action, the battalion took its first casualties. Their commander, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Bates, was seriously wounded. And the entire crew of Harvey Woodard's M4 were killed. These pictures had been taken just the day before the battle. The tank hadn't been hit. The men seemed to be unharmed. They must have been killed by the concussion of a shell burst directly overhead.
Yeah, the first outfit
Yeah,
that
that
we
must have
fought
been
with was the New England Division, the Yankee Division, the White D, 26th Division.
The first mission.
And the first time that I got wounded was
Tank gets knocked out from an ops loss.
I was in France, and it was an early morning attack. And my tank, being a platoon sergeant, my tank, I was in the lead tank. And we had been told by the recon boys there was nothing out there except heavy machine gun fire. But when we got in the middle of the field, we found out that they had anti-tank guns. They also had bazookas. And they started knocking out my tanks, one behind the other. And then my tank got hit.
German bazookas.
I ejected myself out of the tank. I hit the ditch. Then they started raking the field with machine gun fire. And then some sergeant from the 26th Division, he yelled over me and he says, "Sergeant, you hit?" I said, "Yeah, man." He says, "It's bad." I said, "I'm hit hard as hell." Just like that.
How much of this do you think is
rolled over
real?
to where I was, and I had blood running down my combat jacket. And he took me and pushed me over the bench, over the embankment, and threw me on the other side, out of the line of fire. Then he raised
16-year-old Germans
come over
with cardboard anti-tank
and as
grenades.
he raised up, German about maybe 10 yards away in the bushes, took a burp gun and cut him half in two. He killed him. See, I never knew who that sergeant was. All I know, he was from the 26th Yankee Division, who we were supporting at the time. And that's the only thing I knew.
And then I
E.G.
took my
McConnell,
tank,
retired now.
and I did a
Recreates those
backflip
days on
with
the
my
Western
tank
Front.
and dodged the anti-tank rounds.
He has good reason to remember.
We were advancing.
He has good reason to remember. He's on a
All hell
PBS
broke
documentary.
loose. They fired a
That's the reason.
HE shell that hit. That's all I remember till sometime after dark when I came to, out in the ditch next to my tank, burning like hell.
And all of a sudden we heard over the radio where the Germans hit the first tank, the last tank, and it would say Germans all over the place. So we backed up, ran around to the back of the town, and we laid nothing but fire on them, 50 caliber, 30 caliber, and 76 millimeter, all in the HE. No armor piercing HE until we ran out of ammunition. And on the radio I could hear them saying, "Watch out for this, watch out that." Then I heard them say, "EG say, I've been hit." I said, "Oh my God, then I hit my man."
Okay, so their line got plinked from both ends, right, which is a tactic to stop the line. Then they got the hell out of there, held up in a town, were just blind firing, right? No fire discipline, fired off all of their ammo. They're like, "We're firing off all of our ammo," and they're getting a radio from someone saying, "Oh, they're still coming, watch out."
When I went to pull my helmet,
The way they
off my
describe
head,
it.
I felt a sharp pain, and I think I passed out again because the shrapnel had lodged in my head, halfway in the helmet, and through into my skull. Well, anyway, this young white fellow who was in the infantry, he
I don't know,
grabbed
man.
a hold of my helmet
I haven't
for
seen
me,
physical evidence.
and he held on to it, even though he was much, much more seriously injured than I. See, I was coming and going. I wasn't conscious all the time. And he thought that we were evacuated together. And this is sort of odd, you know. Here's a white soldier looking out for his black combat companion. And anyway, we were evacuated. We went back to 100 General Hospital in Bar-le-Duc, France. I went through surgery and all like that and wound up on a ward. I was the only black on the ward. This two-star general came down to visit this hospital. And the ward must have been about 100 feet long or so. And he walked all the way down on the side. "Good morning, Corporal. How are you? How do you feel today?" "Hello, Private. What unit?"
This actually did happen.
got to
Generals
me,
would do this. This is like
hesitated for a moment, looked over at me, and
what the heck is
I
that?
had my head wrapped from a head injury. And this man looked at me and says, "What's wrong with you, boy? Got the
Sort of.
claps?"
I haven't seen this all the
Man,
way
I was
through.
devastated.
I've seen this like bits and pieces.
My buddy next to me,
I didn't have enough time. I literally got this at like
looked
2
up,
p.m.
he
today,
was
and I
in
had to get
cast
the
from
DVD
his,
set up and stuff.
Neck all the way down, both feet, bar across in front of both feet, and all like that. He said, "Hey, General, if he got it, he got it from your mother. Now send me back up the front, you son of a bitch." He was out of war altogether. He was so broken up. That's why he could say it. Well, this hurt this guy, but it didn't hurt him like the hurt that I got that day.
Oh, the hurt that you got?
Later on that day, here comes this same bum walking through the ward. And I saw him coming. He's giving out the Purple Hearts. I had a comic book. I didn't even read the damn things, but I just put the comic book up my face like I was reading the thing. And he went through his ceremony and then handed it to me. I didn't even reach for it. Just let him put it down on the bed.
So he gave me a Purple Heart, and I was like, fuck you for being a bum. Or
Well, I'm telling you, my country 'tis of the sweet land of bigotry.
I wish.
The German commanders had assembled 28 divisions, supported by hundreds of tanks, along a weak spot in the Allied offensive. On December 6th, they attacked, stretching and nearly cutting the Allied line. The Battle of the Bulge had begun.
Well, to me, I'd say the German soldier was the best piece of fighting machinery that the world has ever seen. They were dedicated the same as we were. They believed in what they were fighting for. And when a man is fighting for a belief, it's difficult to change his mind.
Yeah, they were fighting against aggressive
the Russians,
NATO,
the Americans, the
NATO
British,
powers.
The French, everybody was hitting them, and they kept fighting. See, the German soldier was like a robot.
A robot.
That's what made him good. The American soldier was just opposite. They had cooks, bakers, newspapermen,
Yeah,
street sweepers.
Germans were never
They
those.
just put us all together, and they made an army overnight almost.
Hatton's Third
Germans
Army,
didn't have those problems.
accompanied by the Black Armored units, raced northward to Bastogne, where the German advance had surrounded an American airborne division.
See, like this is like the kind of shit that I kind of don't like, is how like Americans go, oh, we're just like citizens with like normal day jobs, and then we get thrust into the army. Whereas Germans, they're like training from age 10 to be killing machines or something. It's like that's
December 16th. Well, it's here.
Stupid movie.
The Great German Counterattack. Pulling out and going north to Belgium tonight. It will take 2 days. It's so cold and the snow and ice is making it tough on tankers.
Yeah.
You know, this has been a memory that has lingered in my
Why did the
head for
Germans
over
choose to
40
attack
years.
in a part of the
See,
front where there was like
somewhere
black
up in
units?
Belgium, around the time of Bulge.
It's like,
and man, it was one cold blast up there. Beautiful country, but really couldn't appreciate the beauty because behind every tree, a snowbank, we knew it could be very, very deadly. Never forget the drone of the tank engines. And the tracks were sort of quiet because it was on the snow. Just advancing infantry alongside our tanks as we rounded this hilly country and went about our business. These are parts that really omitted from that movie Patton. We were so very, very much involved in the Battle of Bulge. Yet no mention has ever been made of it. About the black tankers, Black Panther Battalion.
no mention has ever been made of black
Black
troops
Panthers.
in World War II.
The day after Christmas, General Eisenhower called for volunteers from black units.
It's like you've never heard of them.
Men
You've
trained
never heard
for
of blacks
combat,
in World War II.
but who were assigned to labor and support battalions.
See, all the blacks in World War II. Like you never hear about them. You believe that, guys? This is the first time you're hearing about.
Thousands came forward. The only African-American general in the U.S. military, Benjamin O. Davis Sr., had been brought out of retirement to figurehead the black contingent.
Was a mascot. Was a fake
Brigadier
general.
General Benjamin O. Davis
The only
arrived.
black general wasn't a real
He
general.
made a complete inspection tour despite the weather. These scenes are in Belgium. He looked over everything that had to do with Negro troops.
As the Battle of the Bulge wore on, the fighting and the dying were becoming integrated. Everything else remained separate.
So blacks
Well, it was into this
were
battle
finally
that the
starting to get
183rd
some
had its
casualties.
commitment.
They're
We were
finally
told
facing
to go
casualties.
to a small town in Belgium, a place called Montalange. It was small, but that was a very strategic place because you see there was a bridge there, a bridge that had been blown apart by the enemy, and our responsibility was to rebuild it. We had to do this, you see, because further up the highway, about 15 kilometers, there was another small town, a place called Bastogne. And in Bastogne, there were American soldiers who had been trapped. Members of the 101st Airborne Division, they had been encircled by the enemy and their lives were in jeopardy. They had to be rescued, you see. And so my unit, the 183rd, had its work cut out for it. We had to rebuild that bridge. We had to do it right away, so we began to work. We worked night and day. In spite of the weather, we worked. In spite of the strafing by the airplanes that would come down daily and machine gun us. In spite of the shelling of the 88 howitzers, we worked on that bridge. We finished it. We finished on time. And all of those
He finished on time.
Anonymous sent $5. I am pretty sure the Benelux region filed a formal complaint against the United States for mass rapes of their women by troops. Interesting to know that's where the black troops were. Total coincidence, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that was also the case in Anonymous. I'm pretty sure the Benelux region filed a formal complaint against the United States for mass rapes of their women by troops. Interesting, that's where the black troops were. Yeah, they had the same problems in Italy, of course. So that is that's something always funny to say when people talk about the mass rapes of the Soviet troops. And then, sort of, I don't know, kind of world, not necessarily Holocaust revisionist, but there's a lot of overlap. But World War II revisionists said, okay, but there's lots of rapes from American troops, and well.
And everything else came down. They went up, crossed that bridge, and went up to Bastogne.
There's also in Japan, not in Japan. It was some little island that they occupied. They basically. Put some black troops on occupation duty on one of the Japanese, not one of the big home islands, and not Okinawa, some little rinky-dink offshoot from Okinawa. They had 4 or 5 black Marines just occupying it, and they ended up being killed by the locals because they were trying to rape the women. So I forget the name of that island.
They rescued those men. That was a glorious day. Yes, it was. I used to remember
And you know what was kind of funny about that is that the Marine Corps didn't investigate or press charges or do anything like that. They just said, yeah, we're just gonna ignore this, and they just basically didn't occupy that island afterwards. The locals just killed the black troops, and then the Marines just didn't do anything. Just went, well, let's not get involved here.
I went around Germany and Belgium doing what we had to do. I honestly elated. I felt 10 feet tall because I saw the 761st Tank Battalion on the roads doing what they had to do.
I wonder if that's true. Would they?
I understand that now we are just about to approach the village of Tilley, where I feel that I was informed through your history that this was the first tank-to-tank battle that took place in the small village just outside Bastogne.
In Tilley, on the 5th of January, units of the 761st, hurrying to the relief of Bastogne, ran into a superior force of German tanks. Casualties were heavy.
We started in this large clearing. And we were going through this clearing, and the snow was about 3 to 4 feet deep. It was heavy. And we were getting fire from all over. And as my tank was going forward, we got hit. Smitty was in there.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page here. The 7061st was deactivated, blah, blah, blah. They have been called one of the most effective tank battalions in World War II.
It got almost taken off when the shell hit the tank. Smitty and I got out the tank and another fella, and we started trying to do the best we could to get to the woods. And this clown Smitty, he was hollering, I was ready to stop. I was exhausted, shooting at anything I could see or move or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And this clown Smitty was hollering, remember the Savoy. You know how we was doing up at the Savoy and clowning and whatnot, and we were crawling on our butts and hands and fingers trying to get to the woods to try to get out of the enemy fire while they were shooting at us.
Kind isn't allowed here.
Anonymous sent $100. This has been a long time coming.
Holy shit, thank you, Anonymous. Wow. Well, that's, well, that makes the... Holy shit. Yeah, thanks a lot. That's, I feel like I should say more given that amount, but it's literally just Anonymous. This has been a long time coming. Wow. Thank you, sir. Whoever that is.
The farmer who remembered the battle.
But after a few days came the tanks. Yeah. Across the wood. In the wood, directing and
that more than pays for this thing. I had to pay $50 for this DVD. Like that's how that's how few people want it, and some guy just put it on like a CD rewriter or DVD rewriter.
Holiday, the 6th of January. Artillery. A barrage.
Right. Artillery.
Yes. And after that, American forces came into the village, but there were a big struggle.
Well, these tanks come across there, this is our tanks, boom, boom, our tanks.
They were our tanks. There were 18 American tanks destroyed and several German. A great battle of tanks there.
After
they're
5
talking
days
about
of bitter fighting the
a
761st
village.
captured the town and closed the Brussels-Bastogne highway. One of the tanks still stands in Bastogne, a memorial to the Liberators.
And the reason why delay was important was because it was a way to cut the advance of the Germans in their particular move to confiscate all
learning battle
equipment that was on
tactics.
the east coast of France.
We broke the link of the Germans going to the coast, and then we also broke their link. We isolated a lot of their troops within certain areas to where they couldn't join back up to make a major force.
But I'm here to tell you that my unit, the 183rd,
I don't think
paid a heck of a price for that glory. I know about that, you see, because I stood in the snow. I stood in the snow and I looked at the gray registration trucks on which the bodies of so many of my friends were placed. And it was the beginning of my saying, what are you doing here? You could end up that way. What are you fighting for? You can't get a drink of water at a fountain.
Oh, you have to use your own
You can't get
fountains?
a meal in a restaurant. They won't even let you have a seat on a bus. So what are you doing
have
here
to-
and what
you
are you
have to
fighting
eat-
for?
You have to eat at your own diners.
I was angry. Deep down, I was an angry young black
But I agree,
soldier,
what are you
angry at
fighting
my country
for?
using me, putting me out there to fight and maybe even die to preserve the rights and privileges that they were telling me I wasn't good enough to enjoy back home.
Wow, you got conned? You got conned into
The little town
fighting a war that did you no good?
outside
Oh,
of Liège.
it's so sad.
And we were billeted in these people's homes. And we stayed with a family.
Oh, Lottie, he
Rotterdam,
got sent to fight
And they were just loving type of people.
to fight a war that did no
So
good
then
for
when we
him.
get in Liège, I looked up the family in the telephone book. The next day, when the bus pulled up, they were naming people. There's Rags, and there's Jack Gilbert, there's Horace, you know. It was something that served the soul.
Here we are. They're meeting back up with the Jews they liberated from the camps.
On the day of liberation in 1945,
Here
the
we
Rattlers
are.
buried a bottle of apple brandy on their farm.
The
Today, they
reunion.
dug it up and opened it. to toast their old friends.
Oh wait, no, this is not that.
I like to tell the reason why we're in this town tonight. Back in '44, they were dropping buzz bombs on this place. So they sent the 61st Tank Battalion in to secure the town.
Wait, no, this is Britain. Never mind.
This particular house we're in.
They may have actually been there. Yeah.
Horace Jones, he stayed
I thought they were
in this
meeting
house.
up with the Jews.
And so they remembered him. So that's the reason why we are here today. Now maybe Horace wanted to say something or not. I don't know.
This Belgium?
It was a pleasure to be with the Rodelay family. They treated us very nice. They invited me and all of the friends to come out to their beautiful home, and they are showing us a lovely, lovely time. And I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart.
I'll say a toast. May God continue to bless this home, and may the fellowship which we have established.
Is this Belgium or is this?
Amen.
Oh, this is England. Never mind. Never mind.
Long ago,
Wait,
young
no?
African American
I don't know
soldiers
what's
who had
going
known
on.
the American society in a segregated army were received here gratefully, accepted as people, and welcomed as
Wait.
heroes.
Wait, didn't they say? Wait, didn't they say like earlier on that like everyone in Europe like didn't want to be around them, and now they're saying they're accepted as like heroes?
A lot of things had changed back home since
I mean, maybe
then,
with these guys.
but the memory of that long ago winter was still fresh.
Well, yeah, because they're making up the memories as they go along. Okay, this must be Belgium.
In March 1945,
Wait, did the Nazis? Yeah, I think it was Belgium. But did the Nazis ever fire buzz bombs into Belgium? Like when they lost Belgium, were they still firing? I don't.
the 761st Tank Battalion was attached to the 7th Army, spearheading the American drive to the Rhine. They were among the first American battalions to break through the Siegfried Line into Germany. Resistance was fierce.
We came into this town, and we stopped the tanks, and everybody had piled out of the tanks. You know, we were searching the houses and whatnot. And I hit this house, and we went into the door, and there was some German people in there, and they said, "Kamerad," you know, they were friendly. And I happened to glance at this. I saw something behind the door. So I slammed the door closed real fast, and this big German officer was standing up behind the door, and I stuck my pistol up in his face. And I said, surrender, you know, hollering and whatnot. He said, spoke very good English. "I don't have to surrender to you damn niggers." And when he said that, I slapped him right across the mouth, and teeth jumped all over the place. And I took his German Luger away from him.
Stuff,
and,
shit that
threw
didn't
him
happen.
outside. And that was the issue. That was the whole issue of that thing.
Well, we crossed the German border yesterday, holding the high ground.
Shit that
Whoever
didn't
said
happen
the colored soldiers
for
can't
200.
fight is a damn liar. Because the guys in the infantry told us they would rather have us with them than the white soldiers.
They'd rather have us than the whites.
Black soldiers shared the fates of their white fellows. For their own propaganda purposes, the Germans filmed black soldiers taken prisoner in the battle for Europe.
Oh,
the
they
German
filmed black
armies were on the
soldiers.
defensive, but not yet beaten. And in Germany, American GIs who had experienced segregation.
Like, this is stupid little commentary. They filmed black soldiers that they had captured. It's like...
and hatred at home.
Like, okay,
were
yes,
to be brought
they
face to
filmed
face with
soldiers that they
racism on a
captured.
scale they could not have imagined.
Racism on a scale they could not have
Buchenwald concentration camp, Germany, 1991.
You see now, you see nothing. But this camp, at one time, had over 120,000 inmates.
In this camp here?
This camp. 120,000 inmates.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Benjamin Bender was
What camp is
16 when
this?
he was locked behind this gate.
Here you have a sign in German. Jedem das Seine. Everybody, everyone for himself. So there is no brotherhood here.
Right.
Just the way
Buchenwald?
it is.
Oh, there weren't 120,000 at Buchenwald.
yourself.
That's no.
You die or you survive.
Throughout the battle for Europe, the Jews and other unwanted...
Okay. Here is where is the wait, no, this is not the right one. Hold on, guys. I'm looking that up. Okay. Jedem das Seine. Alright, whatever. Meaning to each his own, or to each what he deserves. Okay. Blah blah blah. Buchenwald concentration camp. Result of the phrase being considered controversial. Yeah, to each what he deserves. Yeah. not every man for himself.
populations of the German Empire were being rounded up and herded into concentration camps. Tens of millions had already been killed.
Tens of millions.
The Nazis continued the transport, internment, and slaughter, even as the Allied armies closed in. Benjamin Bender's parents would not let themselves be taken by the SS.
My parents committed suicide. I was supposed to go into a bunker with them, which I built with them. And there was food for about 2 weeks. And my father has cyanide. And my mother has cyanide. I didn't know that. I was trying to stay with them in this bunker.
Did this really
chased
happen?
me out.
Did this really happen?
And I was crying. I say, why are you doing this to me? You are rejecting me, your son. Well, they didn't say me that they're true, but they said, look.
Yeah, he shot them and took the food. Which one? Was it actually
survive.
suicide, or did he kill his parents and take the food?
My father was in his 40s. My mother was 38. And I was very reluctant, and I was really crying. And I have to leave the place to join a group of the workers who went to the camp.
Press
and they
X
took
to down.
cyanide. And this was in summer of 1943. My brother
1943?
knew about this. I didn't know this.
Yeah, no, there weren't
He
food.
took
There
the
weren't.
secret to his grave.
No.
He
There weren't food shortages that bad in 43.
After.
This is almost certainly a lie. And there's the men who liberated him.
The months flew by and it was 1945. It was the spring of the year. We were winning the war.
The months flew by, and it was 1945. So they arrived. Remember, the first combat they saw was in December of 44. So it's month singular.
And it was at that juncture that we received orders to go down
Month
to
flew
a place
by.
in Germany called Weimar. We went down in great haste, and the war was raging all around. But our units were chasing the enemy. We set our tents in the bivouac area, and it was at this point the lieutenant came to me and two others in our unit and said, "Come with me."
Was
We
this
got aboard
filmed
the
at
truck.
the annual convention of liars and grifters?
But I asked him
Yes.
the question. I said, "Sir,
Yes, that's
where
what
are
it
we
was.
going?" And he said, "We are going to a concentration camp." And I didn't know what he was talking about. I had no idea what a concentration camp was all about. You see, in all the training that I had received, and we had sessions where we...
This is like 99% chance a lie. Like, there were like BBC broadcasts, Voice of America broadcasts, Reader's Digests, like like the Nazi extermination of the Jews was like all over Western media. Like like this is a lie. This is a fucking lie.
We would sit down in small groups and discuss
I didn't
why
know
we
what
were
a
fighting the war,
concentration
but
camp was.
No one ever told me what had been going on in Europe since the 1930s. But on this day, in April,
dude, they had been talking about 6 million Jews since like 35, like, and well before that, outside of Germany.
In 1945, I was to have the shock of my life, you see, because I was going to walk through the gate of a concentration camp called Buchenwald.
That's right.
The American place around
Blacks couldn't read, so this is the first they heard about it.
The Germans became very nervous. They started to shoot.
Oh, shit. Sorry. All right, guys. Last one.
By the gun.
Okay. Okay.
Gun machines all over.
By the gun machines.
Ran out of the barracks. Where to? Towards the gate. Near the gate there was a heap of corpses. I almost fainted, and I was found among this heap of corpses just after the gate was broken and the first American jeeps of the General Patton's army division.
So like the day of liberation, he hops into a pile of corpses, and then like he doesn't say how long later, but like he goes into the pile of corpses, and then like the jeeps start smashing through the gates. All right.
Entered into Buchenwald. For the first time in my life, I saw new kind of uniform, but also blackface. For me, it wasn't a surprise. Blackface.
Okay, so this is the lie. Like, just we've been over this. Like, didn't happen. Black troops weren't there. But he vividly remembers. He vividly remembers.
America, which in my eyes was a part of a dream of liberation, part of a dream of redemption. And America was for me, an eye of a boy less than 8 years old, a different planet.
And you came through the gate like a wave.
A new stock of cattle to milk. That's what America was.
And you move in all different directions.
Link to Daco. There is Anglo-Acadian. There is no link to this documentary. This is like, well, I have not been able to find this on the internet. This is like, I'm going to try to get this into like a proper form, like an MP4, and then put it on BitChute. But no, this is like, this was like lost to history. This is like, this was on TV and there was a big event about it. It was on PBS, and then they pulled it after like a whole bunch of historians started saying, "Hey, this is bullshit. Like none of this happened." So
it was covered with bodies.
Yeah, at the moment, this is basically a Cozy TV exclusive.
People were covered with blankets. Some are still alive.
I had to find some Podunk Web 1.0 site that was selling it only in DVD format for $50, and it took over a month to get it to me, because it's like literally like one guy in his like DVD press, whatever.
They hand to you, brother. Give me your hand. I am dying, and you were crying. I couldn't understand.
Yes, we're saving Holocaust history. Their stories must be told.
I never cried in Buchenwald.
He never cried in Buchenwald.
When I walked through those gates, I saw
in front of
me what I now
funny, you
refer
never
to
cried
as
in
the
Buchenwald.
walking dead. I saw human beings that had been beaten and starved and tortured and denied all the basic things that make life meaningful. There they stood in front of me.
That's what the Germans were doing. They weren't having like an extermination camp or labor camp. They were like beating them and misfeeding them and like turning them into walking skeletons and then just like laughing at them, right? This is, all these walking skeletons. Please kill me, and the German guards go, "No, we want to torture you. This is our goal."
And bone. They had skeletal faces with those deep-set eyes. Their heads had been clean shaved. And they were holding on to each other for stability.
This is the extermination program. Because they're all these people,
in my life.
all these people that are being kept alive,
and they began to
while suffering from wasting from typhus
in many different languages, and I didn't understand.
That's extermination. It's
and one
keeping
man
these
held out
people
his
alive.
hands, and his fingers were webbed together with scabs from the sores that came from malnutrition. And suddenly they began to move forward. And
Well,
when they did so, I backed away.
Probably typhus,
But then I had a chance to stop.
I don't think malnutrition.
And think.
No, malnutrition.
And I said to myself, my God, what is this insanity? Who are these people? What have they done? What was their crime that anyone would treat them this way?
You know what's funny? I hear about like during the beginnings of the strategic bombing campaign. Like you have all these American like bomber Air Force commanders saying, we're gonna bomb Germany into the Stone Age, right? We're gonna destroy everything they have and blah blah blah. They're really like, you know, bloodthirsty zeal in what they're doing. And then they get to Germany and it's like, oh look, you bombed it into the Stone Age. Congratulations. And they're like, why would the Germans do this? Ooh. We blockaded a food insecure region, and then we bombed the hell out of them.
I didn't know. The young man who spoke very good English. He was of Polish extraction, I believe. He began to tell us about Buchenwald. And he said that these people were Jews. They were gypsies. They were Jehovah's Witnesses. They were Catholics. They were trade unionists. They were communists. He went on with a litany of names of groups that had been placed here in the concentration camp by the Nazis. Because the Nazis said they were not good enough. Therefore, they could be destroyed. Terminated, murdered. I couldn't understand this. I had nothing in my background that would help me to understand this. I couldn't get a handle on things.
I didn't know what an epidemic was. I didn't know what contagious disease and wasting from it looked like.
I had the driver to go straight through the gate.
Oh, here they go.
The gate was closed, and when we hit the gate, it went down.
He hit the gate
after
when it went down.
The gate fell down. We got more machine gun fire, and on the farther end of the camp, there was like a large.
This guy was never there, by the way.
And these SS
these are all
in black
lies.
uniforms was firing on these here people that were trying to come out, and there was fire behind them, and they were burning, and you got that smell of flesh. I eliminated, had the bow gunner shoot at the.
He crashed down the gate, and he's in the middle of the camp, and he's blasting. He's just
which I shot from
blasting.
the top of the tank, eliminated that, and after that, it was finished. There was no more shooting. Then the people started coming out and still crawling over the burning bodies and smoke and bodies that were shot in this doorway, and they were coming out just crawling over.
Okay, so Dachau gets bombed, and then like stuff's on fire. Anyway, what am I saying? He wasn't even there. Like none of this is real.
Bones. I would call them walking skeletons, really.
I was in the second tank behind McBurney. He was the lead tank. We saw this gate. We didn't know what it was.
That's the extermination
He just said, well, let's go in here
program.
and knocked it down. And
Keeping walking skeletons alive.
That's when we saw
these
prisoners coming out looking like skeletons. And immediately, when we stopped the tank, I got out. I'm gonna give him some chocolate and I'm gonna give him some water.
Ooh, they actually show this. Oh. Yeah, see, this is like something you see on like Koda, like actual liberation of the camps and like all the living people like in groups and stuff. Like, I'm surprised they actually showed. Maybe this is one of the reasons why this was pulled from TV, because they're showing like, what are you doing? Showing like actual footage of like what most of the camp was like on liberation. You're just supposed to show like the body piles. You're not supposed to show like all these people.
When the infantry got there, the captain said, stop feeding them. He said, because you're doing the worst thing, you'll kill them. And he says, there were no Germans around, so he said, well, they might counterattack, so we left to go out to the perimeter to make sure that in case any Germans was around in the counterattack, we would be there for them.
I went into this building where this mad scientist, they call him,
the medical experiments.
Human being
Here we go.
In a jar on the wall. And I looked at it, I said, you know, looking at this and looking at that. You know,
here's the horror
movie. How
movie.
can anybody do this? You got to be sick, crazy.
Remember, he wasn't there, so he's literally making all this up.
Like, he also had a refrigerator in his office where he would put bodies in.
He's literally
to
just
see
repeating
how much coal they could
propaganda.
take before death was struck. I guess he was doing this for Hitler as they're going into the Russian front. So then I walked in the back of the building where he had put peoples in to give them the shower.
Actually, that is true. The medical experimentation was true. What they did is they took people who were sentenced to death and did medical experiments that were like deadly on them, and they experimented with revival from hypothermia techniques on and the purpose of this was for downed pilots, because when you eject from an aircraft at high altitude and you land in a place that's particularly cold, a downed pilot is really in danger of like cold or whatever. And what's funny is that the U.S. actually integrated a lot of the revival tech methods that were discovered by the Germans at the cost of killing several experimentation subjects who were slated to be executed for some crime anyway. So
wasn't he gassed him, and I just cried and cried. I said, I can't believe what I see. I said, but I tell you this, no one in my lifespan can tell me that it's propaganda, because I really saw it.
Oh God, that clip has to be isolated. It literally wasn't there. We literally know he wasn't there. I saw it. And you know what? I'll bet you he believes he saw it. I'll bet you he's not lying. Because that's how, like people don't get how like memory works. Like he probably has sort of thought that and been told that and internalized that for so long that he believes he was there. He's constructed that memory, and then he goes in and he meets up with these Jews again and go, "Oh yeah, we saw you there too." You know.
When we drove into Buchenwald, I really didn't think that it was as bad as we had been told or led to believe. There had been some discussion about atrocities that the Germans had committed, but I didn't believe it.
William A. Scott served in the 183rd Combat Engineers.
And was not at Buchenwald.
He'd been a news photographer before the war and always carried a camera. He went into Buchenwald with his friend Leon Bass.
I guess had I been thinking clearly, I would have taken more photographs, because there were some other pictures that were worse than what I actually
took. They set up a photo shoot.
And it's very difficult for anybody to believe what we had witnessed, even though we tell them that. Because I didn't believe it.
You know, the Soviets did that
it
too.
Existed to the extent that
the Soviets did this too. They liberated a camp, and then they kept all the people like in like temporary housing, and then had them all go back in the camps and gave them the prison clothes again and did like a photo shoot for like liberation. So
they did. But I came away with the feeling that this was not consistent with what I had thought about Germany prior to the war as the most literate country in the world. And yet this seems to be beyond barbarism.
You didn't have any opinions
techniques
about Germany.
To cut people down the middle
up.
And put their brains flush against glass so you can look at the inside. I don't think anybody can really comprehend it.
Like these exist at like medical schools all over the place today. Like it's just like, yeah. But they just take that.
Hooks here?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
hooks.
supposed to be 48 hooks. No. See, people were hanged.
They hung people on the
With a
hooks.
wire, metal wire, hanged. When I came here on April 12th.
But that's amazing. It's like like literally like coat hooks, right, around the room. It's become just like anything can become like a killing thing.
After the deliberation,
right,
I look at the wall.
Or I don't know what they were. They're hooks.
This wall has broken
you can put a coat there. I don't know.
Embedded in the cement. I look the wall from the beginning to the very end.
Hooks.
And there were scratches deep because a person hung in agony. Probably his last moment of dying, he was scratching the wall. And then, because you have such an influx of people here, they have to use tremendous amount of water because sometimes the floor was flooded with the blood and human waste.
Wow.
So when a person dies hanged, then everything comes out.
Wow.
So
they would
they
come out of here?
There is.
So they have hoses. So the water come gushing from here, and they're hosing down. And this was going on for years.
What is down here? Look at that.
That's where you take ashes out, I imagine.
Yeah, but this one ain't
sitting
moving.
down and devising something like this for the extermination of
Oh, they
people.
discovered a crematoria, but they don't really like know what it is.
Damage
They
inside, the broken pieces of bricks and all like that.
Hell of a
they
heat
must
level.
have used these things 24 hours a day. This is the
24 hours a day.
end of slavery. They worked the poor devils to death, worked them down to the bone. They put them in the oven. They burn them. They sell the ashes. They strip them of their dentures and whatnot and sell the gold. You know, I didn't know anything about fascism.
They're killing them for the gold in their
I heard
teeth.
about it. I know about lynching and whatnot.
Right.
But this is an evil, calibrated way of carrying on these atrocities.
Oh, yeah.
They're lynching them by the dozens here.
You know, I only thought, like PW camps where they just kept people, but I didn't know that people could have the mind to think of just destroying people's souls and just taking their lives just like that. But I tell you one thing, what we saw, what we got here, it just made me much more bitter and wanted determined to destroy things that these people did, that's all.
I now knew that human suffering could touch all of us. But more than that, I knew that on this day I had seen the face of evil. I'm talking about racism. Racism that would cause one group of people, for some superficial reason, to say that they are superior, they are better than others. And therefore, when they become so powerful, they can dictate terms of life and death for other people. I saw that at Buchenwald. That was evil. That was racism.
2 or 3 weeks after April 11, after the liberation, the American commander gave an order to concentrate all the German
There was
people
a
of
video.
Weimar, mainly elderly population, children and women, to show them the horrors of the Nazis regime. What did they do in Buchenwald? To show them the crematoria, to show them the soap, to show them
there you go, the human
chandeliers
soap. The human soap.
made of humankind's skin. Then, after showing them, and they denied that they knew something, an American black soldier, a giant.
They actually they tested the lampshade, and that ended up being goat skin. The human soap was just like not human soap. The tattoo skin was actually a collection. Like that's actually something that is people don't know about, but that's actually a thing, is preserving tattoos of people. And so you can look up like Japanese, like and Australian like human tattoo collections. I think it's kind of icky, but that's actually like a normal thing. But if you don't know that and you just see like these tattoos spread out over a table, you're gonna be like, your mind's gonna go places. So
with one of his hands, took me by both shoes and lifted me up, and the American commander said to the people of Weimar, "Do you see? This was your enemy. Against this age and this element, you broke out the war, and all these victims fell in the war of the German army against these children."
So that's what. So a black man raised him up in front of everyone, and then gave a speech about how this is your enemy.
I looked at him. I was so proud. These shoulders, these arms. You must understand that for us was the same, with no any difference. All kinds of colors in the faces of an American soldier. For us, they were angels.
For us,
when you came,
they weren't actually there.
Of life to 20,000.
They showed up, whatever it was, 5-10 days later.
By saving
for the
the
photo op,
remnants, you saved future generation. Because from this sparks, or from this embers, a new generation came. Doctors, sculptors, writers.
No, they were all
people from
exterminated.
walk
It
of
was an
life.
extermination program.
So your part is not only by giving people.
It's an extermination program, bro.
But
You
you
didn't
planted
survive.
seeds for the future. And this is your biggest contribution you make. Not only saving their lives. So it means...
Well, that's true. He's telling the truth.
Like, grandchild.
Can be trannies.
Something.
That's what you
very
fought for.
precious.
What a beautiful outlook.
This is true.
What a beautiful outlook.
Okay, now you go. I put some flowers.
Now you can eat. Now you can eat bugs and have your grandchildren chop off their balls and disavow your religion, all that fun stuff. Well, you got to talk about what'll appeal to the blacks. Like they're obviously going to be pro Planet of the Apes. He plants a flower there. This is where I died. This is where they killed me. At this extermination camp.
By late April, the tanks of the 761st had crossed into Austria, finally meeting the advancing Russians at the river end. 761st, they...
And it's a good country. Right or wrong.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
That was in Titusville, Florida.
I'm skipping around
and
a
that
little
was
bit.
in 1946. I'll never forget it. I had to wait my turn to go in the store to buy a package, a loaf of bread for my aunt.
Okay.
And I had been through all this crap overseas, so-called fighting for our country, and we get kicked in the butt again when we come back. I mean, it makes you feel bad, but like I've said before to the kids at the school, this is the only country I know, and it's a good country. Right or wrong, we're still a good country, but it's, but whatever. Okay.
But whatever, that had nothing to do with you.
America largely ignored the contributions of her black soldiers.
Yeah.
It took 33 years for the 761st to be given the Presidential Unit Citation.
So this one unit that, like, based on their own, like, positive spin of their combat history was kind of like the Keystone Cops unit, got the Presidential Unit Citation. And then they're talking about
for the extraordinary heroism, the highest award any unit can win. But the profoundest gratitude came to them from those who were slated for death in the camps.
Benjamin Bender, survivor of Buchenwald.
Stephen Jacobs, child survivor of Buchenwald.
Walter Woodson, Liberator, Dakar.
David Yeager, Buchenwald.
Leon Bass, Liberator, Buchenwald.
But seriously, this is
Liberator, Buchenwald.
Good example of
47 years after their
convergence.
liberation, 30 survivors of the death camps were reunited in New York with 40 of the African American soldiers who rescued them.
To see the face here, I don't think words can describe it. It's just unbelievable because these people are angels to me. It's just a miracle. I don't think another miracle could ever surpass this.
Like all miracles, it didn't actually happen.
They
Death
have never
camp survivors.
forgotten.
Gassing's weird. And they're not gonna fucking let you forget either. Oh man. So there you go. It's in all seriousness, it's actually a kind of useful thing because it's it's like because there are 30 of the people at the camps and 40 of the blacks there, and they all remember, sort of in collective, they all remember blacks liberating the camps. Along with, the problem is, like, they tell so many stories about what happened in the fighting that it's like, who the hell knows? Like, it's hard to tell how much of that is true. Certainly, busting down the gate and like Ramboing, like as the Germans were shooting the remaining camp inmates in Dachau, and he just rams down the gate and starts blasting and starts taking up the machine gun nest on the left, on the right, and all this stuff. That's pretty good. It's kind of funny because they literally weren't there. Or the guy like, yeah, there was a German guy, he said, and the German guy, because Germans, this is part of their cultural lexicon, he said, shut up, nigger, and I just slapped him with my gun and his teeth flew around, and that was that. It's like all these all these black troops are all Rambo. They're all Rambo. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, this is like before the internet. And the thing is, Chelsea FC fan, they didn't get away with it, right? Because they ended up having to take it down. So, yeah, they won't allow investigation in Belzec. They threw rocks all over it. Yeah, they did that at several camps where they just threw rocks all over, like, the pits and stuff. So there you go. That is the Liberators fighting on two fronts in World War II. There's a lot of little clips in there that are useful. I wouldn't recommend, watching the whole thing. You guys got to watch the whole thing. You guys are privileged. You got to watch a secret movie that few people can see anymore, that isn't on the net. It's hard to get. I wasn't able to find it on Amazon. So you guys all got to see all that good stuff. So yeah, what should I talk about now? I actually had some stuff here. I was actually looking for a I don't know if somebody can find this. There was a clip of the Paris gas chambers. Let me show. See, this is what they had public. Here, let's go to the Brave again. This is what they had publicly. This is what
sorry, but
they ended
your
up presenting.
kind isn't allowed here.
Deltron sent $5. Thoughts on Adio Africa?
Thoughts on Adio Africa? Let's see. Whoa. I haven't seen this movie and I don't really know what it's about or whatever, but I mean, it looks like it might be not horrible, but anyway, like if people want to see that for whatever reason, we'll go ahead and link that here. Yo, Adio Africa. Okay, so apparently some people like it and they think that it's a good movie. So can we watch Roots? But this is what I was talking about. This is just a quick.
These pictures, taken almost in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, bear grim.
these pictures taken almost in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, right? So this is like right next to the Eiffel Tower.
Witness to Nazi inhumanity. German bullets tearing their way through the bodies of helpless victims have cut these execution posts to shreds. In this disused rifle range.
So that's what they had. So that's how you know they killed a bunch of people. They have these posts here, these shot up posts.
In this disused rifle range, soundproofed to stifle screams, Gestapo men burned Parisians at the stake to extort information. See the handprints of those who tried to escape the flames. The flames. Their eyes, the flames. Of those who tried to escape the flames. Their eyes blindfolded with heavy bandages.
I think this was like early when they're developing the Holocaust, like, because later on you see like scratches, like little scratches in the side of the concrete, right? But early on they're going all out. Early on they haven't really refined it very well yet, so you got the handprints in the things. That's right. They were really.
Fallen rosary bears testimony to the faith
of. So there's a rosary.
Of one who, steadfast under torture, refused to give information.
So there's a rosary, which is evidence of somebody who refused to give information.
From the evidence of a captured Nazi, and of these coffins standing ready for new victims.
They're in Paris, by the way. So what we've seen are wooden posts, handprints that were formed in wet cement, and some coffins, which are in Paris. So
French officials reconstruct a horrible story. Parisians stand mutely by as the bodies of their tortured comrades are unearthed. They will never forget the horrors of Gestapo Inquisition. Mutely by as the bodies of their tortured comrades are unearthed. They will never forget the horrors of Gestapo Inquisition.
When they went to Bergen-Belsen, when they went to all the Western camps, and whenever they saw like any bodies, they just milked that for days. And so they're saying here,
French officials reconstruct a horrible story. Parisians stand mutely by as the bodies of their tortured comrades are unearthed.
So, like, you know, if there were like bodies there, like you would, you'd see them. So if they're not showing them, they're not there. So yeah. But the thing is, this clip here is actually worse than what is presented, because this is what was ultimately presented. But there was a clip of this. I don't know if anybody can find it. This room this was actually going to be a gas chamber. This clip, because they actually have some B-roll that somebody found, where it shows them, and I wish I could find the video on it. What do the comments say? What do the comments say? Let's look. Oh, I think you have an idea of what the comments say about this. But yeah. Oh, also, if you just dislike, yeah. But no, in this room, I guess I just have to describe this. There was actually like windows on the side. Like, they make it look over here like it's like this closed off like little area here, but there's actually windows. Like, okay, see those windows right there? Those windows are actually let me find it on the clip here. Yeah, those windows are actually to the left of this guy, and that's actually where the light's coming in. Those windows are actually over there. Like, these windows are on like, these windows here are actually like off over here. So it's like completely open, like windowed. And they had like what are those like sort of air circulation things you see in gymnasiums? They had sort of like those, but they were actually blowing steam into it, and you saw the film crew sort of laughing at like the steam coming into the area. So which is suspicion that they were going to make this into a gas chamber. Like, this was going to be a gas chamber, but I think they decided against it. I think they decided that's like a gas chamber, like right outside of the Eiffel Tower. So I think that was a little over the top. But yeah, it's the Paris gas chamber. So But I swear the video exists of that. So I was looking. I swear it was like on here. It was like. Belgium gas chamber. I think it was something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I can't find it, but you used to be able to find it pretty easily on the US HMM site. But there you go. So, what did I want to talk about? I was going to talk about this Mad Gasser Mattoon thing, but I haven't gotten a whole lot of sleep here on this. And I think it would be... I don't feel like I would do a very good job on it right now. So, I don't know. The USHMM, that's the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum. And that is, yeah, it would be more believable if the Eiffel Tower was the gas chamber. But we have... No, what they do, they actually send Jews up to the top of the Eiffel Tower and then they just throw them off. That's how they did it. Paris. Get Rob to narrate it. So there we go. Okay. So yeah, I think I did my duty. I got that video. I tracked it down. Gonna be trying to put it on other sites so other people can just download it and have access to this wonderful piece of history, this wonderful piece of Holocaust that's being denied is the Black Liberators. Why is institutional Holocaust denial going after this? Oh, what do I have on the screen? I have something stupid on the screen. So, all right, there we go. I think that's the end of the stream. Gonna have Rob on tomorrow, talk about some stuff, talk about the yes, thanks so much, Blags, very cool. Yeah. And yeah. That'll be it. That's the end of the stream.